Aloha! My name is Sour Cream. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Aloha! My name is Magnetic Marzipan, and welcome to Baby's first art video! Today I'm going to exercise my free will and make a video about an art challenge that happened literally a month ago, because I worked too hard not to show off my art to any unfortunate soul who passes by. So, without any further ado, welcome to Brush Week 2025, a challenge issued by the one and only Four Leaf Island, aka Cat Mask, a wonderfully skilled artist whose color theory knowledge I am insanely jealous of. Your task in this week-long art venture is to design a character once per day based off of 7 different brushes, each with its own themed color palette. I don't normally do challenges like these, mostly because I'm the kind of person who follows the rule of never spend less than 10 hours on an illustration, but I shrimply couldn't pass up the excuse to design a bunch of different variants of a character. Designing alts is my bread and butter. So, now that I've dumped my exposition on you, on to the first brush. Hello there, it's me, Editing Marzipan. I'm here to provide the voiceover for you. This was recorded in a different setup with the intro, so if my audio sounds worse or you hear my fan in the background, that's why. Sorry. This one was mostly directionless. The concept didn't really inspire me that much, so I kind of just ended up saying fuck it, we ball, and just doing what looked cool. I gave her like a tech wear jacket, sorta kinda. I did have the very vague idea of like, oh, this is like a space station outfit, but like not too space station, like gacha game version of a space station outfit, if that makes sense. I don't really like this one. This one is my least favorite of all the designs I did, but it got done. I was rushing this one because I had an 8-hour shift that day, so I knew I wouldn't have time to work on it. This one was at the very, very start of the challenge, so I had a lot more trouble with it than I did later on. The main thing initially was just doing something and going with it and not going back to redo it, because that's something I do a lot. I will make a design and then I will realize I'm not actually that happy with it, and then I will go back and redo it like mid-concept art. And because I didn't really have time to do so, I was forced to stick with my decisions, which I feel like really helped me because I'm a perfectionist. I am running out of things to talk about severely because the sketch phase of this one is just so long. Here you can see me struggle with her pigtails, because her pigtails have a very specific shape that I have in my head, and it takes me a hot second to get it out on the paper. I'm not sure why I bothered to like line them, quote unquote. This whole thing ended up coming out very sketchy. Finally you can see what's going on. I should not have posed the tail the way that I did. It ended up making the canvas an awkward shape, and I try to avoid that in future designs. But, as you'll see, sometimes I am not always successful. If you'll notice, here I completely ignore the bristles of the brush as an option for the colors. This is again because I was rushing. And so I just didn't consider it at the time. I also forgot the plant growth on her leg. I leave it out intentionally on one design, and one design only. Anyway, I think we're almost done, so on to the finished art. I don't really like this one. It's like the mutated pancake that you first make when you're starting a new batch of pancakes. The rest come out fine, but the first one or two are mutants that you're not really that proud of. I don't want to talk about this one any longer. On to the next. On to brush number 2. This one gave me a bit of trouble at first, because I couldn't figure out what to do while also keeping with the theme, which is something you'll see a lot here. My initial thought was just generic, frilly plush doll, kind of inspired by that one character with the name I can't pronounce from Pocket Mirror, but I then proceed to switch gears immediately, because I remember a concept I made a little bit ago of basically just my Sona as a Little Big Planet character. It was not even really a concept, more just an experiment with designing in the art style, but I was a big fan of how it came out then, and I still am now, so I decided to draw from that instead. I replaced the weird shaped plush hair with ribbons because I feel like that has a lot more capacity for visual interest and also follows her actual hair shape a lot more, because in canon it's basically just a slab of fish that's been styled very efficiently. I'd also like to draw attention to her eye. Every design featured in this video is going to have something with the eye, because in her original design, it's a very crucial part of her character. Same goes for the parts on the legs. Honestly, my favorite part of this art challenge was figuring out what I wanted to do with the patches of plant growth on every design. Looking back, I totally could have put frills on the end of the tail to further sell the idea of sewn on details. What the hell am I saying? But I wasn't thinking of that at the time, so if I ever draw this design again, I guess I'll do that, but I highly doubt I will. I got a lot of experience in drawing petticoats for this challenge, as well as frills and the like. I feel like it also improved my ability to draw curves, because I had to draw a lot of curves. This character has a lot of flowy elements, and so drawing that over and over and over again probably did something to my sanity, as you can see here with me having to redo the tail line 17 different times, but it definitely helped me improve. Here you can see me struggle with the pigtails again. I'm so thankful for the existence of the stabilizer, because otherwise I just would not have been able to really do it. I don't really have a whole lot of time to talk about the coloring, but I will say I'm glad that they included a white in this one, because it means I didn't have to spend 15 hours trying to figure out how to do the underside of the tail and not have it be either too jarring or blend in too much. Here's the finished piece. Big fan of how this came out. I like how the cream color in the hair kind of sort of looks like a blonde color, because it reminds me of the Gyaru roots that for a while her character had, that I feel like doesn't really come through that much anymore, because I've sort of moved away from Gyaru as a thing. Anywho, on to the next brush. Oh boy, this one, I think, aside from the first one, is my least favorite. Partially as a consequence of the color palette. Mostly as a consequence of the color palette, actually, because I don't like browns and greens and nature colors like that at all. I don't even like orange. However, I will say, I'm very proud of the posing on this one. It's nothing too special, but I like how I drew the hands. I was sort of trying to imitate like the Sawtown art style hands, and I feel like it works really well with her body type. I had a bit of a challenge figuring out what to do with her eye, although you can see I like figured it out, but like I was kind of stumped at first, because that's the first thing I have to figure out, because it's like the most integral part of her face, aside from her eyes and like, you know, basically everything else. So I decided to go with mushrooms because there's mushrooms on the brush, and I leaned into that really hard. For some reason, during the creation of this design, I was thinking of that one pizza tower level. I'm sure you know the one. The one that Lario came from. I'm not sure if that had any bearing on how this design turned out, but I feel it relevant to include because it's funny. I used the moss a lot here. I tried to make a lot of fluffy shapes that could potentially pass for moss or like greenery. So for example, the fuzzy leg warmers and the whatever her shorts have going on. I'm not sure. I can never tell if that's meant to just be like fluff that's been sewn on or like where it's ripped. While I was drawing it, I thought, oh, this is just a very exaggerated like bunch of frayed threads and seams and all that, but now I'm not sure. I wasn't really sure also where to include like the stone bits, so I kind of just like put them on her wrists as cuffs. Big fan of bangles and stuff like that. I made her tail way too long, and then I fix it. You can see me fix it, and then I make it too long again. This challenge gave me a very good idea of what I am good at drawing consistently on her and what I am not good at drawing consistently on her, and her tail is one of those things. The line art for this one was very tedious. No more tedious than usual, but I think I gave myself too many things to worry about here. The design itself isn't really all that complicated, at least in comparison to the other designs I usually make, but it's just the sheer amount of things. Like, I have to worry about the little detail lines on the moss, because since this isn't going to be shaded, because I do not have time to do shading on this, I had to portray volume in line art, and that's very hard. So the line art for this one ended up being very, very tedious. Honestly, all things considered, this design isn't too bad. I just don't really like the color palette. I was very, very uninspired by the color palette on this one. I don't like green in most cases. I'm sorry. It has to be paired with something. But other than that, I mean, it's not too bad. I put the wood pattern on her sock because I wasn't, again, another case of I'm not sure where to put this, but I wanted to include it anyway. During the creation of this, it sort of ended up taking on an outdoorsy kind of vibe. I'm not sure how else to describe it. The type of thing you'd wear while hanging out outside, but maybe don't go hiking in that. I think I did a pretty good job with the color distribution here. The thing with limited color palettes is that you have a lot of trouble distributing them. Finished piece number 3. I'm a big fan of the logo design here. I'm definitely stealing it for later. I don't really have anything else to say. On to the next. It's time for number 1 of the trio of favorite designs. So I feel like I should probably preface by saying that Melanie at her core is a Splatoon character. I feel like it's very easy to forget because of how far removed she is from Splatoon at this point, but she's a great zapfish. It's a subspecies of great zapfish that took on a more humanoid form to better cohabitate with their Inkling and Octoling peers amidst the whole land crisis. So I decided to go back to her Splatoon-based roots for this one, because when I saw the brush, for some reason, I began thinking immediately of the Sanitizarium stage from Splatoon 2, where you fight the Octo Shower. The actual boss itself didn't have too much bearing in this design, but I took inspiration from the environment design. But I did give her a little Ducky keychain that has Callie's fish fillet thing, sashimi. It has Callie's hat, and also the actual brush has a little Ducky keychain. So the heels on this one gave me a bit of trouble. Octavia, man, why you got your warriors fighting in heels? Going along with the Octo Shower theme, this design is based off the Neo Octoling armor. I imagine sorta kinda in this one she'd be like an Octoling soldier, except not really an Octoling. So it's pretty much an alternate universe of what if this character was in the Octarian army? For the plant growth on this design, I decided to replace it with bubbles. I'm not really sure how that would work from a lore perspective, but I saw the opportunity and I took it, and I wasn't sure where else to include the bubbles, so it's there. I think it's cool. I should probably mention also, I tried something new with the line art here. I probably won't be doing it again, but I used a brush that just doesn't have pen pressure. It turned out okay. I feel like it doesn't really fit with my art style 99.999% of the time, because I have a very detailed art style. Plus it was tedious. So tedious. I'm pretty sure 90% of the line art footage is just me undoing and redoing lines. Okay, in case you're wondering where her melanin went just now, it's because she's underground. Normally, she has a suntan because she's from the Splatlands and also lives in like a sunny tropical region. Big fan of how this one came out. Also a big fan of the background. I kind of based it off the Splatoon 1 mini-map on the Wii U gamepad. This one is also where I began like actually designing logos kinda for the designs. So that was also a big help because I had a lot of fun with it, and I will probably be designing more logos later for like series and stuff. Anyway, I've yapped too long about this design because I really like it. On to the next! On to number 2 of the trio of favorite designs. This one is mostly owed to the color palette and also the fact that I went really, really hard on the plant growth on her body. Since this is a design that's based off the beach and it's like a swimsuit, I figured she'd probably be in the sun and her plant growth would really, really like that. So I got to draw big flowers on her. I'm so pleased about this. Don't expect that floaty to stay, by the way. I realized halfway through drawing it that there's no point in giving her that because, like, she can't go in the water anyway or she'll die. She's an ink fish. She'll dissolve. But I don't think the hand pose ended up looking too awkward without it anyway because she's, like, running. Here, I break my own rule that I had set for myself of trying to keep the tail from extending the canvas too awkwardly. This is a very energetic pose, so I allowed myself to bend the rules to carry on the movement, because I feel like it adds a lot more movement. It sort of fulfills the role that something flowy would, like a ribbon or like a skirt or something like that. I'm quite proud of the feet I drew here. Whenever, the entire time I was drawing them, I was hitting that one image where it's like, trying to draw feet good, but not so good that people think I'm into it. I think they came out quite well. I'm bad at drawing feet. I never draw feet. I'm also bad at drawing shoes. I don't like drawing shoes. That, like, garter thing doesn't stay either. I know I spoke about not forgetting the plant growth because it's an integral part of her character, but here I almost do forget it. Wow, great memory, Melanie. Drawing all those leaves was very hard. I put little plumerias in them. Plumerias are... Flowers in general are kind of hard to draw, but I feel like they turned out well. Onto the line art! This one has my favorite line art, I think. It also took the longest, for reasons you'll see. There's a lot of frills and things I have to worry about drawing. And then also, I have to worry about the curves, because, like, she's a fat woman, and therefore has a lot of, like, curves, plus the flowers and her hair. It's a lot of round edges. And also, I had to draw leaves, a lot of leaves, and then I had to worry about the flowers in those leaves, but I'm quite pleased with how it came out. Here I realized that there are actually 2 stems on the flower on the brush, so I go back and I add another stem. I could have done the same for the one growing on her thigh, but I didn't, because I didn't feel like it. Drawing those little stems kills me every time. Doing the line art on the tail here messed me the hell up. As well as the line art on the pigtails, because it's a giant flowing curve, and I'm bad at drawing those smoothly. Because the way I do lines, they kind of have to be, like, flawless. Not because my style is very line art dependent as it is, but because it draws from 2000s aesthetics and 2000s art styles, have very flowy lines, very flowy, detailed lines. Well, maybe not detailed, but either way, the lines are usually perfect. Integrating the brown coral color here was hard, and also I realized that I forgot the scar on her belly, because she has that, and there are things that try to grow out of it. It was mostly because I never have to draw that part of her, so I forgot about it. But I go back and add it. I do away with the flower that wanted to grow there, because I feel like it would have busied things up too much. And also, in canon, that's like one of the only parts where the flower was able to be removed and not grow back. I went really hard on the logo here. I call it a logo. The title, I guess. I'm pretty sure I'm like a good 15 minutes, maybe longer, was just dedicated to doing the bubbles in this. This one has my favorite logo and also my favorite background. This is the most favorite of the trio of favorite designs. I'm so happy with how the pose turned out. It's just, I think it's the best design I made for this challenge. On to the next. Time for number 3 in the trio of favorite designs. This one, I think, had the most early concepts that I didn't go with. The very first concept was a bad end for her, but something about drawing that physically hurt me. Not literally, but I couldn't do it for some reason. It's probably something related to the actual lore of what would need to happen for the bad end to take place, and I don't know, I guess it just unnerved me. Then my next idea was just to make her goth, which I also didn't like, and then I settled on this design, which I think is my favorite concept-wise, because it's based off of the gelatins from the Splatoon 3 DLC, Side Order, which are basically like these, I'm not sure how to classify them, but they're these like toy fish looking critters. I'm so pleased with the concept behind this one. I feel like I could have executed it a little bit better. Like here, I'm not really sure what to do for the outfit, so I just like give her a fucked up version of the order suit. I tried really, really hard to incorporate the spikes on the actual brush, but because of the nature of the design, there weren't really many good places to do so. I think I did pretty well with what I had, though. I'll be real here. I was not about to draw a detailed skeleton hand for this, so I ended up just doing it from memory and taking artistic liberty, which I feel like worked out in the end, because gelatins, they evoke skeleton with the way they're designed and the way their internals are designed, but they're not actually detailed skeletons. It's more like plastic toy parts. So I feel like going a less detailed route benefited me here more than anything else. I lean into that with the legs because I realize, finally, after staring at an image of a gelatin for however many minutes, that they're designed more like toys than actual fish skeletons. The tail gave me a lot of trouble, just because of the perspective on the rings. There's probably a biological term for that, I don't know, but they gave me trouble, and I was not about to worry too much about perspective because I was on a 1-day time limit. It's very hard for me to make an entire drawing and design in 1 day, because I'm the kind of person who, again, typically prefers not to spend any less than 10 hours on an art piece. I love small details that no one except me will care about. I know it's slowing me down severely, but it makes me happy, so I worry about it anyway. Doing the line art on this one, I wouldn't exactly say it was fun, but it was interesting. Despite how annoying it is, I actually do kind of enjoy doing meticulous lines, and this one had a lot of meticulous lines because of all the funny little bony details. Again, the tail giving me trouble because I had to draw a bunch of cylinders And I know that geometric shapes are supposed to be the most easy to draw, but I do not like drawing cylinders. They're hard to get right and have look accurate. The colors are my favorite part of this, because once I actually start coloring it in is where the gelatin influence really shines through. I took the black they gave us and ran with it hard. I don't have anything else to say. That's Dead Sea. Very, very happy with how this one came out. I've been saying that a lot, I know, but it's a great design. I'm so pleased with it. I'd love to explore this concept more with a proper character, or maybe an alternate universe in the future. It's so cool. I've yapped enough about this one. On to the final. So, time for the last brush. This one, very pleased with the fashion design here. It took me a second to come up with something I actually liked, but when I did find something I actually liked, I ran with it, and I ran with it hard, and it turned out really good. I also had fun drawing the expression. Not so much fun drawing the rose. Of course, I could have used any flower, and I chose the hardest one to draw. But at the same time, it makes the most sense thematically because roses are the ones that are associated with love the most. You can see me go through a lot of phases with the design here, until I eventually just get fed up and do a little doodle off in the corner to flesh it out before I begin worrying about the details and all that. I'm sure it was obvious, but I drew a little bit of inspiration from Elle Felt Valentine from Guilty Gear, the series I've never played but absolutely love the designs of. Here is where I looked up knee reference and realized that the way I had been drawing knees this whole time was fucked up. So in case you're wondering why the knees look extra good on this drawing, that's why. I'm also quite proud of the sneakers. I'm not good at drawing shoes. I don't like drawing shoes. It's hard to keep them consistent, as you can very clearly see here, but these came out really well. Weirdly well. I feel like this challenge may be better at drawing shoes, honestly. I will say I got a little bit carried away with the small details. That happens a lot with me, but I was trying to keep it in check here because the less colors you have to work with, the harder it is to add small details and still have them not just blend in with the design. That said, I think I managed pretty well for what I did end up doing. intended to redraw the bows later, and then I just didn't end up doing it. I'm so upset about that. I should have included those big bows. You notice how I haven't drawn the rose yet? There we go. I don't think it came out perfect, but I didn't have time to do studies of a rose to figure out how to draw them. So I took a couple of pictures off of the internet and I ran with it. I don't have too much to say about the line art, aside from the line art of the rose. It sucked very bad. I actually end up having to take screenshots of the time-lapse video for this one to figure out how things are supposed to look. I'm not sure how I ended up forgetting mid-drawing what I drew underneath all the clothes, but I did somehow. Aren't I such a good artist? I'm quite proud of the petticoat I drew for this. I feel like it's the best drawn petticoat of the two that were in this challenge. I'm also quite proud of, well, the knees, but just generally the legs. I'm a big fan of that specific variety of leg shape. I don't know how to describe it. They just look soft and I appreciate it. I realized while I was doing the line art that I was going to have to do the shoes and the detail on the shoes, and I was not looking forward to that, so I decided to make it a problem for future me, who was doing the coloring. Again, I messed up the tail a little bit here. I like how I drew the fin, but I made the base of it too big. That's not fitting under a coat. Doing these little heart details was so tedious. I think it was worth it in the end, because they came out really cute, but it was very tedious. Here I realize I forgot to fill in an entire part of the petticoat, and so I do that. I had a lot of fun with the coloring, because it means I got to draw blush. And I love drawing blush. I've been gearing up for a car trip while drawing this one, so I went ahead and got myself the logo font and the watermark. But whatever, I want to focus on the details on the shoes, because I'm so proud of the details on the shoes. They were very tedious, but they came out very well. I also curved her whiskers into heart shapes this time. And that's the final drawing. This challenge was quite fun. Very tedious, but very fun. I'm very proud of how this and most of the other drawings came out. It pushed me to draw things that I probably wouldn't have drawn and use concepts I probably wouldn't have used. And despite how I may have talked about the designs here, I'm still very proud of most, if not all of them. And I really like how they came out.